Hey, everybody, and welcome to Believe in the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Jeff Cavanaugh from 97.1 The Freak. Whoop. He's former Cowboys wide receiver Jesse Holley.
Oh, Jesse Holley went 77 yards. It must be a reality show.
And with our powers combined, we are Believe in the Dallas Cowboys, which you don't have to do. It's just the title. Don't worry about it. You can see it's spelled differently, so you don't have to believe. We're brought to you by our friends at BetOnline. The tournament is happening. BetOnline, your bracket headquarters for the season. Best bracket contest is out there. Odds, lines, info on every game, every round, right up until the national championship. You can access the most up-to-the-minute wagering information anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices. Even track your bracket real time all the way through the tournament. Head to BetOnline today and get in on the action. Remember to use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline. The game starts here. Yeah, we see the Carolina stuff. Your team's doing it right.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. 31 Sweet 16, baby. The most in NCAA history. Let's go.
I saw that your the average team age of North Carolina is the same as the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's how you do it.
Come on,
that's how you do it.
The tournament is all about veteran leadership right there, baby. Let's go fifth-year seniors. Let's go COVID guys. Let's go Cormac Ryan, who's 25 years old. Let's go.
Hell yeah. You guys need that guy from that one school that's a 25-year-old white dude that was just out there hammering threes against the one team.
Jake from State Farm. No, Jake Golick.
Sure, I believe it.
That's who Cormac Ryan was supposed to be. He's a 25-year-old transfer from Notre Dame. He was a shooter. He's streaky at times, but we'll take him. We'll take him. We'll take him.
Cowboy things of the day. I have a couple of them. We should go to the breaking news first. The breaking news is that Mazi Smith had shoulder surgery. And so here's the thing, Jesse. It's really been beat up on the Cowboys season. And I'm kind of tired of it. But I don't know what else to do with that one, where it's like, okay, so the first-round draft pick, who you didn't really have a plan for because he lost a bunch of weight, and so now they're saying, yeah, we're going to get the weight back on him, and he's going to take some big strides. We'll have a good plan for him. I'm like, all right, so you didn't have a good plan for your first-round draft pick. $2 million for Jonathan Hankins was too much. You got outbid at $2 million, like 1.3 as a salary. You got outbid, and he was better than Mazi, but the plan is where the Cowboys have said, you know, we still have all these star players. If we could just find a way to run the ball better and stop the run a little bit better. Your plan for that so far is, I guess, please God, Eric Kendricks tackle everybody all the time and beat all the offensive linemen and make all the tackles, because we're going to let the better defense tackle. And Hankins is not very good. I mean this with all due respect. He was getting up there. He was a useful run defender, and he's only getting older. So, like, I get it. But he was considerably better. Mazi played 4 snaps in the playoff game. Like, that's where he was at the end of his rookie year. They're like, we can't play him. Yeah. That's where he was at the end of it. Now his arm fell off. He's not going to be ready until training camp, so August. And their plan is, don't worry about it. We got all the good players we need. We just got to stop the run better and run the ball better. And their only nose tackle, I guess if you want to count Carl Davis, who's just kind of been hanging out around watching NFL football for a few years, but their only nose tackle was a bust. So far, he could be great. That they don't have a plan for, that lost a bunch of weight, but he's going to gain a bunch of weight. But while gaining a bunch of weight, he's going to be getting in phenomenal shape, even though he can't move his arm, and he'll be ready to practice in August. And we need to run the ball better too. Our running back's gone, and so is our best offensive lineman and our starting center. And don't worry about it. It's all fine. We also don't have a plan for Tyler Smith. We don't, like, you could, yeah, he might play tag. We don't really have a plan. And I don't want it to be beat up on the Cowboys season. There's so many things we could talk about, but they won't let me do anything else.
We had a unique opportunity yesterday to speak to some students over at the University of SMU.
Not University of SMU. It's
SMU
not
University.
No, just SMU.
It is SMU? There's not a university in that?
Southern Methodist University, SMU. Okay. Yes, we were guest speakers, which, man,
funny
what a
story.
Privilege.
Quick sidebar, funny story. I did the same exact thing. I'm sitting across from Ralph Friedgen, University of Maryland, or Maryland University, whichever one you want to call them. My senior year in high school, Ralph Friedgen has offered me a scholarship. and I'm sitting there with my coach, little Lou Grasso, and his wife, Teresa. And he says to me, Jesse, what schools are you interested in? This is early in the process. Might be my junior year, early in the process. And I go, yeah, the University of UCLA. And I just smoothly went through that thing. And so we're getting back in the car, driving back to Jersey from Maryland. And Teresa, who's an educator, goes, hey, Jess, just out of curiosity, do you know what the U stands for at UCLA? I'm like, hell if I know. I don't know.
The University of California at Los Angeles.
So she said, yeah, you're going to the University of the University. And I was like, Ralph Prieson's probably not going to. She's like, well, good thing that Ralph didn't bring you in for educational purposes. Yeah. We're pretty damn good at football. Anyway, we had an opportunity to be at SMU yesterday, and we talked about what? Tanking.
We talked about the ethics of tanking, which is that's why I was the first person to get an invite from Jamie Newberg, who covers the Rangers and is, I believe the wording is adjunct professor at SMU. And he was like, yeah, you want to come in and talk about the ethics of tanking? I was like, not really. All people have to do is follow me on Twitter to know what I think about tanking. I want to tank all the time.
Yeah, and I think this is falling in line with that. And I don't know where the Cowboys are going forward, right? I don't know what their thinking is, and maybe their thinking is, hey, you know what? We're going to get Shedeur Sanders next year. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the Cowboys thinking is. But to your point, they're making it very hard to honestly, earnestly, with integrity, say that this football team is going to be good. Now, they'll still be able to compete because they have the guys like CeeDee Lamb, and they have guys like Dak Prescott, and they have guys like Micah Parsons and others. So they'll, Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs will be coming back. So they'll have some competitive components. But when you think about overall, this team just continues to lose players almost by the day, whether it be through free agency, whether it be through injury, and they continue to lose and lose and lose, and they're not even close to replenishing the cupboard right now. And for a guy like Mazi Smith, who is now out for 4 to 6 months, that is a huge blow in development. With him being able to get with their new defensive coordinator, Mike Zim. And by the way, he lost that weight on his own. That wasn't a team-sanctioned weight-losing thing. So, him trying to gain the weight back, is he gaining the weight back in a healthy manner? Is he gaining it back too fast? How does that process work in his progression of still trying to be quick and still trying to be strong and physical? Well, we know that he's going to lose some strength because he won't be able to do anything for 4 to 6 months with the shoulder surgery. So this is just making to be. And then, by the way, the thing that's kind of the lion that's slowly creeping up on you as you're walking through this wilderness that is the Dallas Cowboys right now is the schedule. They're getting ready to play probably the toughest schedule in the NFL next year with a bunch of good teams. And I don't know how this thing is going to go. And maybe this is the exact thing that Jerry Jones wants. We all make jokes about him sitting on the bus and him having the notepad, and on the notepad, it's nothing but scribbling. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe the plan is to do a bunch of this right here, and that's the plan. This is the plan for him to take a pen and just do a bunch of scribbling, and maybe it's a Picasso, maybe it's a piece of either way. We just don't know what the plan is for the Cowboys right now. And is there still time? Sure. But it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good. And yeah, man, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Well, and part of it is that the Cowboys are kind of cheap, which is weird when you think about the Cowboys. I think I saw my buddy Joey Ikes has been on this train for a long time, where if you track what the Cowboys spend in cash every year and just don't worry about the cap for a minute, you will find that they are one of the cheaper teams in football, which just means that they're not interested in signing big free agents and big old signing bonuses. And so they are up to the cap as usual, but they're not going to sign big name players. That's probably why they end up waiting too late on all of their really good players, is because the Cowboys Cowboys are balling on a budget, which is a weird thing for them to do. But I mean, they own 5 million businesses. So, you know, you got to spend your money all over the place. They're kind of cheap, which is a weird thing to say, but it's factually accurate. If you compare their spending year to year with other teams in the NFL, and the teams that want to compete aren't worried about their money. They spend all of it. The Cowboys haven't spent over $200 million in a season in the last 3 years, and the cap's 250. So they're still accounting for that by pushing people's money around, but they're not spending it. Like if I wanted to go check the teams who you think of as, oh yeah, like they'll cut a guy, trade a guy, cut a guy, trade a guy, sign that guy, trade for this guy, signing bonus here, boom, boom, boom. The Eagles, like they don't give a damn. And the Cowboys don't operate that way. So what are you going to do? You're just going to watch them and see what happens. Other thing from today that bothers me a little bit is Jerry Jones talking about Tyler Smith potentially moving to left tackle to replace.
Before you go on to that, also to add to that injury, Luke Schoonmaker as well is injured, and he'll be having surgery. He was injured during training. So he'll be having surgery as well. So 2 of your top 2 picks from a year ago will spend a lot of their offseason in the recovery process.
Well, I have no doubt that the guy who was a 25-year-old rookie that wasn't a starter until his 5th year in college or whatever and never put up big numbers, I still have no doubt that he's going to be an incredible NFL player. That'll be great. So the one thing to come from last year's, and this is what they're counting on. Like what they are counting on is internal. That's what they're counting on. They're gonna count on nail in the draft, and they're gonna count on Jalen Tolbert, and they're gonna count on I can't fake it at defensive tackle. Like there's not a name there. Mazi. They're gonna count on Mazi. They're gonna count on Jalen Tolbert. They're gonna bank on having a good training camp means that DeMarvion Overshown can play good NFL football. They're gonna bank on.
Which is weird to me.
Healthy.
Which is weird to me because I'm not saying that DeMarvion Overshown won't have a full recovery, but the last couple of major injuries for the Cowboys, Tony Pollard, Michael Gallup, Terrence Steele, like those are the names that come to mind. But at least Michael Gallup and Terrence Steele, who had ACL injuries, they haven't been the same. They have not been the same.
Which is weird, though. You're supposed to be the same. Sometimes it's not the next year. Maybe it is the next year. But most guys come back from an ACL. It is interesting that both Gallup and Steele, it's like, what is happening? Why are you guys bad?
But even in that aspect of it, right? And I know that, Overshown's happened last year in the preseason. And it's kind of like, he'll have more, probably maybe around a year of recovery. But even still in that, where will he be? Where will he be in the recovery process, right? Because there's one thing for you to be medically cleared, right? That is the part that Jim Mauer and Britt Brown, I think, do a really good job of doing, getting these guys back to working again. But there's something that they just can't fix when it comes to the mental part of it or trusting it. Right? Like they can say, hey, this thing is structurally sound. All the components are there for them to go with zero restrictions. But there's something up here that the player, and it has nothing to do with the training staff. Maybe that's to do everything with the mental sports staff. But there's something up here that does not click. It doesn't kind of curl all the way over between the injury and the mental part of it. And we've seen a couple guys who have dealt with that when they've come back, they just have not been the same player. They just haven't. And I would hope that for Overshown is different, but I'm going to go with history until I'm shown otherwise. And history has said it may be another year or at least towards the end of the year, like Tony Pollard started to kind of get his footing back before we see Overshown really step in and be a contributing factor to this defense. So you're banking on a guy that history says you probably shouldn't bank on.
And they'll probably just be meh at linebacker. And like a lot of other positions, if anybody gets hurt, you'll be in deep doo-doo. Because I do think Eric Kendricks he's an okay starting linebacker. Like you're on the wrong side of 30 by a few years now, and it's going to be working its way down. But I think he's a capable NFL player. Damone Clark, and Overshown. I'm just like, it's not a good linebacker room, but you could survive with that linebacker room. And I already kind of talked about Tyler real quick, because my one thing about what they say about Tyler Smith is a year ago, David Moore was writing about how they were thinking about Terrence Steele at guard coming off of his injury. While Zach Martin was playing guard, Tyler Smith was playing guard, Tyron Smith was playing left tackle, and maybe their half-ass idea was Tyron will be a backup and play when somebody gets hurt. I don't know. But a lot of times, man, they either don't have a plan or they have a bad plan, and that's not good. We're supposed to have like the 32 best people at this running organizations, and we should have plans for people. And they don't know what their plan is for Tyler Smith. They didn't know a year ago what their plan was for Tyron or Terrence or whatever. And hell, maybe that's why now Tyron's gone because they're cheap. I was gonna say maybe that's why Tyron's gone, because it makes it easier to plan. But no. The other thing I do want to go to is if anybody out there was hoping for a Stephon Gilmore return, you've had 2 or 3 opportunities now, yesterday being the last one, to hear from A. Jones about Stephon Gilmore. Deion was campaigning for Stephon Gilmore to get paid by the Cowboys. Let me get the exact quote from Instagram. He said, click. Stephon Gilmore and his kids, I guess, were at Deion's house. And Deion posted, I got a special visit today from a future Hall of Famer and his son, Stephon Gilmore. Dallas, stop playing. They're not playing. This is who they are. When they signed Jordan Lewis, I was like, yeah, Stephon Gilmore's not coming back. They feel like they have 3 starters and they're going to move on. And Stephen Jones talked again yesterday, and it was a winding answer where, you know how the guys who are responsible for negotiating contracts and wanting to bring guys in, they talk in a way that leads to the words of, and we'd love to have him back. But there's a lot of words before it. Right. So like Steve was doing all the words about, man, as good as he was for us last year on the field, he was probably even better in the locker room, what he meant for those young guys. And he was getting to where his robot brain was taking him to and we'd love to, and this is twice it's happened to him, but when he gets to that point of the sentence, he catches himself and goes, and we hope everything works out great for him. Like, guys, Stephon Gilmore is not coming back here unless he's playing for nothing. Yeah. They've had multiple chances to say, and we'd love to have him back. And it always is all the words that lead to it. And then, and we hope life is good for him. So don't hold your breath. That's all I got. I
want to go back to the Tyler Smith situation. As we're nearing the draft, we're about a month away from the draft. And someone asked me this the other day on Twitter. I just hadn't had a chance to respond. So if they're watching this, maybe this gives them the answer that they're looking for. Because in my heart of hearts, I believe Tyler Smith is not moving from left guard. And I honestly think Tyler Smith should not move from left guard because when you look at your center's gone, you'll have a new center in there. Your left tackle's gone. You'll have a new left tackle in there. For the style of play that your quarterback plays, he is a guy, he's really good when his pocket is clean. When he's able to step up in the pocket and deliver the ball down the football field, he can be really good. And I think moving Tyler Smith out to left tackle now weakens and softens that interior. And I'm not saying that it's easier to find a left tackle. I'm saying it's easier to help a left tackle than it is to help a left guard. It's hard to help the interior. When your center guard combination isn't really good, there's not like you can throw the ball quickly, you can semi-roll out, but if they're just not good, eventually that pocket just collapses on you and you don't have any place to step up and deliver the football. And now you're patting the ball too much and you can't drive the ball down the football field and all these kind of things. So I think you're going to yes.
Can I call a timeout just to illustrate for everyone listening? Because I think everyone can see this in their brain. If you think about the Cowboys all of last year, you know who was really bad? Terrence Steele. And can you picture almost every big play the Cowboys made? Because it's Dak drops back, Dak slides or runs forward to beat the guy who beat Terrence Steele. You can do that. It's a lot harder to beat the dude who's 2 yards from you in your lap. You can run away from the guy who beat Terrence Steele.
Right.
It's hard to run away from the guy that beat Tyler Smith.
Right.
At left guard.
So
I can picture it because all of the big plays were Dak running up past Steele, all of them.
So do you think that, my question is to you with the draft coming up, do you think it's easier to replace a left tackle or a guard?
Generally speaking, I think it's easier to replace a guard. It's a good year for tackle. It's a good year for center. I just hate having to chase anything. And there's actually a lot of the best guys in this draft class. Like it's a right tackle from Duke who is probably going to be an NFL center. There's dudes that played left or right tackle that could probably play guard, or that some teams they're going to play guard. Like, I don't know. And maybe that answer's fine with Tyler Smith. If you go, look, the answer's fluid. The answer is who are our best five and how does that work? I just hate moving a guy that I'm looking at and going, that dude's dominant. And out there, he might be okay. But maybe that's what this year is. This year is they're going to throw a bunch of dudes out there and see if anybody can play. Like Brock Hoffman, can you play? TJ Bass, can you play? Jalen Tolbert, can you play? Again, I don't have a name at defensive tackle. They don't exist. Overshown, can you play? Either way, it doesn't look fun right now. But the good news is you have Dak, CD, Martin, Bland, Diggs, Parsons. Am I missing any of the stars? Like they got a bunch of really good players, so they're going to be competitive. It just sucks when you're watching your team get worse and be complacent, knowing you're like Jerry said the words out loud. He's like, I think that we just with Dak we can do more with less. I'm like, oh, that's a sweet plan. We're not going to try our best, and then we're going to fire everybody and blame them, and then we'll hopefully find a quarterback somewhere else. They're going to extend Dak in training camp. Don't let them trick you. They're not blowing this thing all the way up. They're doing a little, and I do understand it. They're doing a little, take our medicine on bad contracts, eat some money, reshape it a little bit, get younger around Tyron, CD, Micah. And the idea is not insane, but there's at least a couple of things you needed to do if you're interested in really winning this year. And instead they're going to go, oh no, what's Dak got? Like, okay. All right. Happy day, Cowboy fan.
Yeah, I got the plan.
Oh my God. You've been doing that the whole show, haven't you? He's been Jerry doodling. I love it. All right. Well, that'll do it. Remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through. Be cool to everyone. We love you. Be easy.
Stick to the plan. Eliminate the contingencies.
Stick to the plan.